Welcome back to Comics Off the Top. My name's Adam, and today we're going to be counting down the top 10 most iconic and my personal favorite Peter Parker Spider-Man comic covers of all time. A comic book cover is literally in many ways the most important part of the book. A great piece of cover book art has the ability to lift a book up and send it to legendary status. In this video, I'm going to show you 10 Peter Parker Spider-Man covers that are some of the most iconic and beautiful examples of comic art in the history of the medium. Now, before I start, I'm going to say this. This list is in no particular order, and feel free to put your other Peter Parker Spider-Man covers that you love in the comments below. I would love to continue the conversation down there and see what you love in terms of comic book cover art. With that in mind, let's start with a classic. Most of my fellow VV NFT hunters are going to be incredibly familiar with this comic, along with pretty much anyone who's ever cared about comic books ever. This is issue 1 of Spider-Man's very first own book. It's also the second appearance of Webhead in comics, don't worry, we'll get to the first one later on. With art by the legendary and co-creator of Spidey, Steve Ditko, this was released back in March 1963. The blued out background of the art piece really allows for dynamic colours of Spidey and the Fantastic Four to be front and centre. Spider-Man, despite being encased in a glass-like cylinder, kind of like what you would do if you found a rogue spider in your kitchen, you just grab a glass and put it on top of it. Despite that, it is incredibly dynamic in the centre of the picture. The spider suit featuring, of course, the classic underarm webbing, which I'm a huge fan of, but was lost in later iterations of the character when Ditko left the book and John Romita took over. Great way to start our list and a classic piece of art. We're going to jump around a lot from different eras of Spidey during this list, but this one lands us during the miniseries Secret Wars released in December 1984. And of course features that iconic black spider suit. While this isn't the first time we see the black suit, this is the issue that tells us the origin of the Venom symbiote that we all know and love today. There is no doubt, based on this cover, who the main story of this issue is about. Pencils for the cover was done by Mike Zeck, and he places the webhead front and center in the incredibly iconic pose that promotes a feeling of confusion and unease, which, considering he's wearing Alien, makes sense. While the giant war of superheroes waging behind him is just that, behind him. The choice of colors is what strikes me about this one. A black suit Spider-Man can often be lost in a page. However, the contrast of that orange just makes this suit pop so much. A beautiful artwork from the 1980s, you can see how comic book art was influencing pop art in a big way at the time. Let's continue forward in time and hurry up to the 90s. In fact, in August 1990, with the release of one of the most hyped up and best-selling books of all time, Spider-Man #1. And with probably one of the most hyped up and popular artists of all time, the Todd father himself, Todd McFarlane. Yes, VV Heads, Todd isn't just a Batman artist as a lot of you think he may be. He has drawn all of the greats and does it with such style and finesse that even one quick glance at an image you can tell it's a Todd. This book pretty much launched the huge boom of the comic industry in the 90s. Spider-Man #1 had no less than 18 variant covers, with even reprints of this book selling like hotcakes. It introduced to the comic world the concept of a polybag and put the web slinger back in his new series and a new #1. But take away all of that and just look at the art for a second. The pose of Spider-Man crouching and nearly filling the entire frame, the thick layering of webs almost like a prison holding Spidey in place, the little spiders crawling all over, the story title of Torment in the art. This was a cover that signified a new era of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. This was the Spider era of the Todd father. Alright, let's get back to Ditko, shall we? One of my absolute favorite Spider-Man covers on this list is this book. The cover for Amazing Spider-Man 33 just holds so much power. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then this image is Spider-Man exhausted, stuck under a pile of rubble as the water rises up above him, his head slightly lowered. This picture says 10,000 words. Even without knowing the story within, you can tell our hero is spent, defeated emotionally and physically. What I love most about this image is what I love about Ditko's work in general. His ability to use character poses to express feeling and emotion. In this case, the head tilted down, slightly closed eyes on Spider-Man, and the limp left arm in the water that just signifies that he's given up every last moment of hope. I love this artwork, and personally I think this is Ditko at his absolute best. Now to one of the most recent covers on the list, from February 2021, a cover that at the point of this video is just over a year old. Look at this beautiful minimalistic cover that has been drawn with so much detail and precision. The brilliant piece of modern Spidey art is from artist Patrick Gleason and was in the final issue of the Last Remain storyline in The Amazing Spider-Man. The book itself isn't that amazing, but it found itself getting multiple reprints, and it was the art that was the reason for this. What was awesome about that is they kept reprinting the artwork in different colors. And you can't tell me you don't want all of these books in all of these different colors. It's such a sleek, simple idea done with mastery and skill. Gleason, I salute you. Also, side note, am I the only one who likes the blue variant the best out of all these ones? Let me know in the comments below. Alright people, let's just get this out of the way. You know it's going to be on the list. I know it's going to be on the list. Even your grandpa who can't remember what he had for breakfast knows this is going to be on the list. And he can't even work out how to use the computer to watch YouTube. It's Amazing Fantasy 15. Let's do it. When it comes to iconic covers of all time, this may be the top of the list. Or at least in the conversation anyway. Once again, it's the legendary Steve Ditko at the helm of this art, and it's giving the world the first ever look at Spider-Man. Can you imagine being a kid in 1962 and seeing this image at the newsstand? How would you not want to read this book? The use of the dull background colors to feature the brilliant red suit of this crazy spider costumed hero, strong enough to hold onto what is clearly a bad guy under one arm as he swings through the city by a web. How is this not a book you want to pick up instantly and start reading about this crazy character? If you gauge how iconic something is by the number of times it's been used in a homage, then Amazing Fantasy 15 is god tier level iconic. Look at just a few of these homages that the comic book cover artists have created to pay tribute to this book. Deadpool, Daredevil, Spawn, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Man himself, Lego Spider-Man. Even Stephen Colbert has used this book to pay tribute to the cover. There's nothing left for me to say about this cover, except one day it would be a dream to be the presence of this book, and even maybe hold or touch a copy of this book. By the way, if anyone can make that a reality for me, I live in Australia, please get in touch with me, that'd be great. Next on the list is we are returning to the Todd father once again with Amazing Spider-Man 300. This is the special 25th anniversary issue and was released in 1988. It also features the first full appearance of Venom. Not only is this a great cover, but the significance of the book is pretty high as well. The cover features the iconic black suit Spider-Man in a powerful pose as that spaghetti webbing of McFarlane moves out from the center of the book, laying on top of all the 300 numbers. This is a great cover and super iconic. Fun fact, the number 300 appears 79 times on the cover in either fully seen or partially obscured. I know this because I counted them myself. This one we are going back to back with the Todd father. Venom is such a cool looking design for a character, and whenever he appears on a cover, it's something special. And this is the first time Venom was ever on the cover of a comic book. Released in 1989, this features the story of Venom returning to New York to take his vengeance on the Webhead. The pose of him standing over the top of a beaten and battered Spider-Man, blood pouring out from his grip, I just love the power of Venom in this image. When I think of Venom vs. Spidey, this is the artwork that pops into my head. Turns out Todd McFarlane's a pretty good artist. Who would have thought? John Romita Sr., what a cover. Released in 1969, the colours of this is what really sells the cover for me. The bright, exciting colours of the spotlight drags your eyes to the centre, while the low light outlines the cops create a beautiful contrast for Spider-Man. The story is alive and well in this image that makes you just want to open the book and see if the cops managed to capture the webhead. However, the line work on the shadow in the brick wall is so wonderful and underrated. It's such a great little touch that adds texture to the shadow area and makes it pop a little bit more. Most will look past that simple element of this color, but not me. I see your line work, Mr. Romita, and I respect it. Great classic Spider-Man cover from one of the masters. Does a cover get any more iconic than this image? This is, for me, the best Spider-Man cover of all time. This image is the cover for the famous storyline Spider-Man No More. That story has been referenced in movies, video games, and continues to be one of the most well-known stories in the web-slinger's history. And that John Romita cover captures the tone perfectly. The book also features the first appearance of Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin, but even without that, this is a must-have for the art alone. If I was to create an art gallery with comic covers, this would sit on top as one of the greatest of all time. I don't know what to say, so I'm just going to let this image speak for itself for a few seconds. Enjoy. And we come to the end of our list. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy my content, please make sure you like and comment down below. If you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to consider maybe hitting that bell icon and the subscribe button to come along with me on my YouTube journey. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure you're staying safe, staying healthy, being amazing, and as always, I will see you in the next one.